Hey there, Patriots. So we are going to talk about an oldie but a goodie, the Pythagorean Theorem. You probably have seen this before in 8th grade math and in Algebra 1 and now in geometry. So what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you guys to the parts of a right triangle and how to find a missing side using the Pythagorean Theorem. What's important to know, though, before you use the Pythagorean Theorem, you have to have a right triangle. Well, how are we going to determine if a triangle is a right triangle? Well, what we're going to look for is the right angle box. So the right angle box, the right angle box is this box right there. That means this first triangle, because of that right angle, this is a right triangle. When we look at this other triangle, notice this one right here. We're taking a look at this one. There is no right angle box anywhere. So I can't say that this is a right triangle. So I cannot say that this is a right triangle. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I definitely don't know for sure. So I'm not going to assume it is. So if we have a right angle, right here we have our right angle. And a right angle, if you remember, measures 90 degrees. What are the other two angles in a triangle, in a right triangle? What is this angle and what is this angle? Well, these angles are both going to be acute. That is going to be an acute angle, and the one down here is also going to be an acute angle. Both of those are acute angles. So a right triangle will have one right angle, and it will have two acute angles. And those two acute angles, just as a fun fact, have to add up to 90 because all three angles in any triangle have to add up to 180. So I would do 90 plus the acute angle plus, plus the other acute angle would have to equal 180. So if I subtract this 90 from both sides, so just kind of a fun fact. I like this one. The two acute angles together, whatever they measure, I don't know what they measure, but both together would have to be 90. So fun fact, let me write that so it looks like a 90 because that was just not good. Boom. So fun fact, always nice to know. Now, what's going to be important for this lesson after the right angle is the most important part. Do I have a right triangle? Identify that right angle. After we identify that right angle, we are going to use that to identify the sides. Now, this is what's important. The most important side in a right triangle right now is called the hypotenuse. So we're going to start at the right angle. I'm going to draw a line straight out. And this side is called the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the longest side of my right triangle. The other two sides are called legs. So a right triangle will have a right angle, two acute angles. The hypotenuse, it's the longest side, and it is always across from the right angle, and it will have two legs. When I have this Pythagorean theorem, a right triangle, we can always find one side using the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem is just a fancy equation that states the three sides of a right triangle, if I've got two of them, I can find the third because this relationship is always true. The hypotenuse squared equals leg squared plus leg squared. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. Some people write it like this. Some people say A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and that's not wrong, but I like the one above it better. This is the one I like better because we're going to use later lessons that putting it in this order will make those lessons a lot easier. So what are we going to use the triangle for, the Pythagorean theorem for? We're going to use this the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of one missing side of a right triangle when the other two sides are known. So if we know A and B, we can find C because we know C squared equals A squared plus B squared. That'll let us find the hypotenuse. I can say A squared equals 2 let me write this correctly. A squared equals C squared minus B squared. That'll let me find either leg, because the legs don't matter. I don't care which leg is A and which leg is B. The legs are interchangeable. Here's a leg, and here is the hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse was found by coming out from the right angle. The only one that matters is the hypotenuse. The legs are interchangeable. I don't care which leg is A and which leg is B. I totally don't. I'm just trying to show you there's many ways to write the Pythagorean theorem, and normally when you come back into class, I will always start with this formula. You can use the second formula if it helps. Might speed you up just a little bit, but if you don't, I won't. I don't know what your teacher's going to do. But if you got any questions, please ask your teacher. And Patriots, we will see you when we see you.